Guys, this is Marshall Osborne. You can see him there. He's labeled. He's in an SSC shirt. Thanks, Marsh.
Got my coach's shirt on.
That's very awesome. So this is our second alumni chat. And this one, we have Marshall Osborne, who graduated HSC in 2010. He was a great swimmer at HSC, a member of state championship team, and went on to Miami, Ohio, and then went into the working world, and has always maintained a very close relationship with Southeastern Swim Club. He doesn't like me to talk about this, but he was a donor for the scoreboard. I mean, anything the club has ever asked he's to do, he's spoken to the team over the years. So I'm very excited to have him on today and to and just learn a little bit more about him and let him answer any questions you guys might have. Marsh, you want to introduce yourselves to us a little bit?
Yeah, sure. What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me on, Andy and Ben and Matt. It doesn't seem like too long ago I was in kind of the position you're all in, still swimming every day. I definitely don't miss that. But as Andy said, yeah, I graduated in 2010. I moved to California in 2013 to San Francisco and worked at a company called Uber that you might be familiar with for a long time. And then I moved to Los Angeles about 2 years ago and have been working on a bunch of different projects. Just staying busy doing some cool things. We can talk about some of that if you guys have questions, but excited to chat with all of you and see if I can give any advice or just try to talk about my experience swimming or the post-swimming life. It seems like we've got a variety of kind of ages on here, so I'm sure the questions might be different. What do you want to know about life after swimming, or Miami, Ohio, or how much better Los Angeles is than Fishers? I don't know, whatever you want to know.
Why did you decide to move to California and leave Indiana? Just because it's more exciting there and that sort of thing?
No, so actually at Miami, they had a program where instead of going to study abroad in Barcelona or Luxembourg or wherever you wanted to go, you could go work at a tech company as an intern for a semester in San Francisco. And that was kind of your semester credit. And you would work Monday through Thursday, and then Friday you would go visit bigger tech companies, Miami alumni that worked in the industry, go meet with really interesting people. And for me, I was always sort of entrepreneurial in that sense and coming up with ideas on different companies. Look, I socialized enough at Miami on campus, and, going to another country to do the same thing, sounded cool, but also kind of the same thing I was doing. So for me, I was all right, well, if I can go work at a startup and maybe jumpstart my career or find a way to do something interesting, hopefully one day I'll be able to travel way more than just a semester abroad and Barcelona. And I already accepted an internship at Exact Target in Indianapolis, which was back in 2012 was the biggest tech company in Indiana. It eventually got bought by Salesforce for $3 billion. So for me, that was sort of the dream job for someone that wanted to do tech in Indiana at the time. But I just had this feeling that I needed to go try this thing. And then I landed an internship at Uber, and about 2.5 months into it, they were hey, you should just stay and not go back. And because I had my senior year to do, and I decided that it was probably in my best interest to not go back. So I found a way to graduate remotely from San Francisco early, and just never left.
That's cool.
And California is great, but it's not all it's chalked up to be. I still miss the Midwest. It is 80.
California, but
it's 80 degrees and sunny right now, which is awesome. But it's expensive, and I miss seasons. I do invest in some companies that are really small. We call it angel investing. So finding a company that's just starting, or it's an idea that someone wants to start. When you think about a company fundraising, a private company fundraising, angel investing is kind of usually the second step. So an entrepreneur would fund it with their own money, or go to kind of friends and family and raise some money, and then they go to angel investors who take on a ton of risk and are really well connected, that come on board and write small checks that make a big impact, because you're also working with a business that has there's zero real ability to tell if it's going to be successful or not. It's too early to say. And then, over time, they start to go raise money from like larger and larger funds or larger and larger kind of institutions as they go through the cycle before they, eventually get acquired or go public or run out of money. So I kind of fit in that early end of the cycle where it's, smaller amounts of money, but leading to a much bigger impact. But you're also taking a ton of risk on, and that risk is rewarded to you in a big way. So, like this is not something like I'm at a level at all. I'm like very new to this, but as an example of like how angel investing is something that's super interesting, and it's a hits driven business. There are people that invested like $5,000 into Uber as an angel investor back in like 2000. $5 million 10 years later, which is insane. Like that's a crazy thing to think about, that someone could do that, or like $25,000 turned into $120 million. And I know people who've made like a lot of money doing that. But also you will lose all your money on like the majority of the things that you invest in. It's purely like luck and finding really smart people and really good teams, less than really good ideas. I like to pick things that are like, and look at things that are in a space I'm familiar with. So a lot of like consumer technology, sports, music, just like stuff that I have a background in or and connected in, or like actually would use myself. Like there's a gaming company that it's called Zelos. Basically, if you play a lot of video games, the battle pass thing, for all these games, you buy the battle pass, you get all the benefits from it. But like it's a single ecosystem, so you're paying money just for like Call of Duty or just for Fortnite or just for whatever you're playing, and you're not able to like share the benefits of that across different titles. So this company's basically built a battle pass that works for all games. So right now, whether you're playing League of Legends, Overwatch, Fortnite, a bunch of other titles, you can earn like points for completing challenges, like not winning and losing, but like things that anybody's able to do, and you're earning credit that you can use across all of those titles. So, say you're really good at League of Legends and you play that a ton and you earn a bunch of points, well, then you could go like buy games or buy skins in other games or upgrade your character in like Fortnite or Overwatch, based on that. So it's kind of creating this continuity between a bunch of things that you maybe play. And obviously like this is a good time for them because a lot more people are playing video games. So that's something that's a bit closer to what I'm doing. Whereas I have friends who invest in like, I have a friend of mine who is a data scientist, and he is working with a company that's building the technology to refuel satellites in orbit. And I don't have any idea of like what that is or how that works, and can't really like wrap my head around refueling satellites. So I tend to stay away from that just because I'm trying to make an impact as an investor, and also learn, like, do things that are interesting to me.
Do you think do you think it was easy for them to handle this exponential growth to 200 million users?
I mean, I think in a business like this, so I'll give you two examples. Like let's put Zoom on one side and Instacart on the other side. One is a very analog business. Instacart requires people to go to a grocery store and to buy groceries, and you need people, and there's like limitations to how fast that can happen. Whereas Zoom, like it's all bits. There's no atoms to it. If you think about things as bits and atoms, like bits scale really fast, atoms require a lot more work. So Zoom, like their scaling is like more servers, a larger swath of Amazon Web Services to support the growth that they have, which are things that you can do very rapidly. And if you follow it closely, they've had like a lot of security issues, because with more popular apps, like people, unfortunately, like the society's tendencies is like to always kind of pick on whoever's the focal point. So more people are like trying to mess with Zoom than they would have like a year ago. They also were like doing some sort of strange things with like routing feeds through China, and I don't know, but they've kind of patched all that up. And I've been following it pretty closely. But for them, it's like ensuring their core infrastructure works, and they have enough engineers and they have enough servers to support what they've got. Whereas Instacart's problem is like they need a lot more people to work. But fundamentally, like big grocery stores are not made for that business. If you think about an e-commerce operation, and their warehousing, like they have everything is in the perfect place for where it needs to be based on like how often it's purchased, temperature control, margin. So you're putting your high margin, heavily purchased items at the front of the warehouse, so that someone can go pick it very fast and put it in a box. You don't put your like most bought items like in the far corner at the top of the thing, where you have to get the forklift and get it down, because that adds time. Whereas if you think about going into a grocery store, like it's not optimized for someone that's like buying groceries for somebody else online. It's optimized for like keeping people in a grocery store as long as they can to buy the most stuff. And as grocery stores, especially like in coastal markets, are becoming more predominantly Instacart kind of like facilities, because that's what everyone's doing, it's creating a lot of challenges, because the Instacart shoppers don't like, if your parents go to the grocery store, say once a week, they go to the same Kroger once a week, they know where everything is. There's no like wandering around. They are going to get exactly what they need. They know exactly where it is. And it's like bing, bang, boom. But if you throw, like, I was back for Christmas and my girlfriend, she went to Kroger with me, and I got stuck on a call. So I was like, hey, here's this list from my mom for all the things she needs for Christmas. Here's a Kroger, she's from California. She's never heard of a Kroger. They don't have things like super mega giant Kroger in California where they sell everything known to man. And she literally like went in there and was like, I don't know what to do. And I found her 40 minutes later, just kind of like standing, looking at, like blindly at, I don't know, like t-shirts. And she was like, why do they sell t-shirts in the grocery store? I was like, I don't know. That's what they do. The point being, if you put someone in unfamiliar territory into a place like that, like it's really not efficient. And Instacart has struggled a ton to maximize their business, because like they can't beat, that's not a solvable problem right now. They can't readjust grocery stores. They can't like train Instacart shoppers. They can't, there's nothing they can do. So that's one where like you'll see a shift in how grocery stores are laid out, or you'll start to see like Instacart only grocery stores that are literally just like big Costco like warehouses that are optimized for what people are buying online, so that like the shoppers can get in and out quickly.
I mean, from a technical standpoint, for Zoom scalability, they just click a button and they get another server. I mean, I ran out of memory on an AWS server like 2 months ago. I just went in, typed 120 gigabytes, clicked enter, and I had more storage. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously at the scale they're talking, and with video like connectivity, it's a bit more challenging than that. But like honestly, that's sort of like spinning up servers is much easier than like rebuilding grocery stores. So again, like some of these businesses were kind of ready for this. Others, you're gonna see like major changes in how we think about this stuff. I mean, restaurants and cloud kitchens being another one. Like they're not optimized for delivery in the way they package food. Menus are not optimized for what would be good to be delivered. Like, but if you think about like your favorite restaurants that you go eat at in town, like their delivery food probably isn't as good as it is when you're eating it there, because like there's a lot of thought into the ingredients, the menu, the packaging. Like these are things that like you don't realize are a problem until you get to this point. So you'll start to see a lot. I mean, I guess the way I think about it is like, as your your delivery food quality goes up and your cost goes down, like why would you then go to a restaurant? If those two variables start to cross, like there's a point where it becomes more interesting to just stay at home and have it delivered. We're still far away from that. Like we're not there, but I think the cost piece is trending more rapidly than the quality piece is, for sure. Because that's like a way easier problem to fix. But I think you'll start to see a lot of improvements in terms of how food gets delivered over the next like 2 years.